Hey, it's Eric from Support Adventure, and I'm here with Alex. How's it going, Alex?
How's it guys?
You're one of our contract managers at Support Adventure.
That's correct.
And we wanted to make this video about some of our best practices for standard operating procedures for your MSP. Why is this important?
Well, if you want to, your help desk should be essentially a fine-tuned machine. And if you really want to optimize the efficiency on your help desk and create a better environment for your techs, as well as provide better service for your end users, we've seen these practices work really well in the past amongst our best clients.
Yeah, I think it's best if you think of your help desk as a system. Otherwise, it can quickly become random people doing random things with random tickets.
Yes.
Yeah. And it just, that doesn't scale well.
No.
We see that working up to about 5 technicians, but past 5, 10, 15 technicians working in a system is super important, or else your life will turn into chaos.
Yes.
You don't want that.
And it can happen very quickly as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
And even for smaller help desks, setting in place like tips like this early on will really help you grow and optimize your help desk so it's providing the optimal results while not wasting a bunch of people's time and focus.
Exactly.
So let's jump into it. What's number 1, Alex?
So what we feel like, and this is probably one of the bigger points, is having a dedicated person triaging and dispatching all unscreened calls and tickets. What we've often seen, if you have tickets coming into a board, techs tend to cherry pick the best tickets. Tickets kind of get left there. Everybody has that one client that no one wants to deal with, and no tech is going to actually want to grab that ticket. Same thing with unscreened calls coming in. You might have a tech that's busy on deep down into project work, trying to resolve an issue, and all of a sudden his phone rings and he's forced to answer that call. It's caused this distraction. So having a dedicated service, like a dedicated dispatcher or a service coordinator, or even a triage tech, just receiving all the unscreened tickets, receiving all the calls, replying back to clients, triaging that ticket back to the correct tech who can resolve the issue, does help quite a bit improving the efficiency on the help desk.
Yeah, so I'll ask you a few questions. When you walk into a hospital, what happens? Do you walk straight up to a doctor and start telling them about your complaint? No, they have a process where they figure out your insurance, health insurance, they figure out your basic ID, get you in the system, and ensure that you're going to reach the right sort of person who's going to help you with your problem with the right urgency. This is exactly what a dispatch does. When you walk into a nice restaurant with, let's say, 40 tables, what happens? Do you walk straight up to the cook and say, make me a cheeseburger right now? No.
Yep.
So when you walk into a bus station with 40 different departure bays, what happens? When you walk into an airport, what's happened? So on and so forth. You can see that there are systems that exist in society that help organize and make efficient your the organization of whatever you're trying to do in those institutions. So if you're running an MSP and you have aspirations to scale it, you need to have somebody working the front of the front desk. And the front of the front desk means someone picking up the phone. How can we help you? Let's create a service ticket in the system. How urgent is it? What is the ramifications of this not working? Is it something you want taken care of ASAP, or can it wait until maybe this afternoon or something like that? These are questions that a triage dispatch person would do, and you do not get the luxury of this sort of filtering if you have the technicians answering the call.
Exactly.
And the expectation that they're going to help the user immediately when they call. It's a great business model if you can overstaff, but if you want to make the best use of your technician's time and focus, you need somebody doing that. You need them assigning the tickets that they can handle as a level 1, 2, or 3 tech, doing screening, making sure all the relevant basic questions like have you tried rebooting it have been asked, and then assigning it to the correct technician with the correct priority with a nice descriptive ticket made. And then also that person will be checking all the tickets on the board every day to make sure that all the tickets have correct notes put on them, which we'll get to later, and that they have, next steps, or how is this going to be resolved? Is it going to sit here forever, or did the person who worked on it last put next steps on it, or are they waiting for the client to call back, or do they need to escalate this? And the dispatchers can help with escalations as well. What else, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, also just like you've said, ticket monitoring, ensuring that there's a constant updates on the tickets. No tickets are going stale, because one stale ticket turns into 3 stale tickets, and now all of a sudden you have a whole board of stale tickets. Having somebody that's dedicated to ensuring that tickets are updated constantly, whether that be daily or just that tickets are adhered to in a timely manner, does improve the help desk. And ultimately, your client's going to end up being more satisfied at the end of the day.
Yeah, the name of the game to satisfy your clients is consistency.
Exactly.
You're promising them a service of responding to their problems in a certain way. And then the dispatch, or as we like to call it also, service coordinator, because it sounds more fancy. Service coordinator or dispatcher, what they do is ensure consistency, ensure that balls are not being dropped, and basically whoever has a ticket assigned to them knows what they're doing with it to bring it on the road to completion, whether that means waiting for a new printer to be delivered and the client calling you back, or if they on next Tuesday are going to call and set that printer up over the phone with the user. Yeah.
And it also helps in a way, say for instance, you've got a client that's logging repeat issues over and over again. They are viewing these issues coming in and they could see, well, Susan has logged the same ticket every Tuesday at this time. Maybe there's an underlying issue. Let's dive a bit deeper into this, because they have full view of what's happening on the help desk at all times.
So to sum it up, this is basically, it's somebody to watch the system of the help desk and ensure that all the parts of it and all the tickets on it are moving correctly.
Perfect. Let's jump onto the second point. So having great documentation and an operations manual. Time and time again, having great documentation in place just helps your techs so much to resolve tickets in a more timely manner.
Yeah.
Especially if you're getting more tickets escalated from your junior techs, from your tier 1s, and they're escalating the same issues to your tier 2s. Put some documentation in place on like how to resolve this ticket, step-by-step guide.
Yeah, and the technical documentation needs to be standardized.
Exactly.
And routinely checked to ensure that it's up to date and correctly entered. Because like if you have a mess of documentation where, so for example, like one password for Office 365 admin could be called Exchange admin, Office 365 admin, email admin, admin panel, or anything like that. But by putting in good documentation standards, you would say our Office 365 passwords are always called Office 365 admin password in our system. And then, somebody like a dispatcher can look through that documentation in their off moments and make sure that they actually are named correctly. And as much as you have to keep documentation regular and talking formats and talking, checklists and all that sort of stuff, the better. And yeah, that's documentation. And an operations manual is really like the home of how your help desk works as a system. A lot of people think that they're going to just get like ConnectWise or AutoTask and it's going to make all tasks automatic, as the name sort of infers. However, you can get the best systems for, help desk ticketing system or documentation stuff, but if your staff don't use it correctly, it's not really gonna help much.
No, not at all.
Yeah, and it kind of like comes back to, training them how to use the systems that you use in the way that for the system of your help desk, which is different than software cloud systems. The system of your help desk is a patchwork of different, the RMM, PSA, documentation system, and all the other tools that you use to deliver the service. And you need to put it all together in a sort of standard operating procedure operations manual. And this is a great training resource. I mean, you'll need to do more in training, like, give people test tickets and all that sort of stuff. But it's a really good way to ensure that your help desk has standards. Standards and, a way that you do business, and something that someone like a service desk manager would constantly be tweaking to achieve a better service result, because your escalation policy and stuff like that might not be the best, but you can improve it by looking at different edge cases and try to constantly add more nuance to the system to deal with cases. We'll talk more about that in communication policy in a few minutes, but yeah, basically you need a system, you need someone, a service desk manager to take responsibility for working on the system, and you need someone like a dispatcher to work in the system with all the techs to make sure that things are going through the system.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, people often ask us what the difference is between a dispatcher and service desk manager. Oh my God, it's like, it's a huge difference. One is a supervisor role, one is actually management. One is following procedures, one is making procedures. And the service desk manager should be free from the day-to-day of at least looking at the run-of-the-mill tickets and sort of like, you know, assigning them to people or asking why this ticket doesn't have notes. That's all dispatch. Service desk manager will look at the edge cases, the ones that the system is not bringing a great result to, the tickets that are not able to be solved, that get escalated and stuff like that. That's what the service desk manager looks at. And yeah, number 4, I mean, reviewing closed tickets.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where you can see whether your system is working correctly. You can see whether, oh wait, sorry.
We skipped one.
We skipped one. Oh, we'll get there, sorry.
Yeah.
Sticky notes.
Yeah, let's go to number 3. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So have standards for your ticket notes. So, I mean, it is so important to be putting the correct ticket notes on the ticket. You could have a technician working on a ticket and all of a sudden he falls ill. And now you need one of your team members to grab that ticket and take ownership of that ticket. If there's no ticket notes or there's no standard of ticket notes of what's expected on that ticket, that second technician might repeat everything that first technician did, and it just ends up wasting time.
Yeah.
Same thing when it comes to escalations. You don't want the senior tech to have to read through the entire ticket from beginning to end, go back and forth with the junior tech to see what was done.
Of the issue.
Yeah.
At the end of the ticket notes. So, all right, so the ticket note writing guide that I wrote in 2018, I believe, is a gem that keeps on helping people get the best out of their help desk and hold their techs accountable for giving great service, not wasting time, and documenting their work. And 2 things you need to watch. From a business perspective, all the steps of customer service they took, calling the client up, scheduling a call, client missed the call, client was unreachable, sent the client an email, all that sort of stuff of the sort of transactional nature of the customer service approach that's been applied to this ticket needs to be recorded in ticket notes. Then the technical perspective, what did they try to fix the problem? Were there knowledge-based articles that they found useful? Link them. And you know, what are the key pieces of information? Like I found out that the DHCP server's IP was this and it wasn't documented. I fixed the documentation. You know, it's basically the under the hood stuff of what you're doing to solve the ticket, and the ticket needs to actually like speak for itself. You shouldn't read a ticket note and then have to contact the person and ask what they did.
Exactly.
That's what ticket notes are for. Now the golden thing is ticket note summaries. At the end of each ticket note, you have 4 possible outcomes. Ticket resolved. Hopefully. This is how I resolved it. It's now resolved. Everybody's happy. All right. Next steps, meaning I was working on this ticket, but I'm going to finish this ticket note right now, and I know what my next steps will be. This ticket will stay assigned to me, and it will stay assigned to me, and I will take the next steps as described on this ticket when I get a chance. Maybe I've scheduled with the client next Thursday at 11 a.m. to do that, or maybe I will just do this because it's not urgent on my own time when I look at this ticket again. Next steps are there. It's on me. Waiting for means you're waiting for the client to call you back. You're waiting for a provider or vendor to do something, deliver something, fix something, something like that. It's beyond your control. The next steps have to be taken by someone else, and thus it is waiting for. And the last one is escalation required. Me as the technician writing this ticket note needs to escalate this ticket because there's some reason, maybe some big business decision, maybe it's out of scope of the help desk, it has to go to the project team, or maybe it's just beyond my knowledge as a level 1 tech. If I'm a level 1 tech on the help desk, I don't know how to fix this. Maybe there's a piece of documentation missing, but escalation required, you have to expect your techs to write detailed escalation notes so the person who's getting the ticket in escalation will know what has been done, why they reached a roadblock, and what the next steps might be, and any other information like the user is available this afternoon after 2 p.m. that might help bring the ticket to a resolved status. So basically, they need to write those notes and then escalate, and then those escalates can go through dispatch and dispatch can find, can ping a bunch of level 3 techs and say, hey, who can take this? And without the technician who is escalating being involved anymore, they're passing it off their plate. It's going to someone else. This is really important in escalations. Like the person who can't solve it can be released of it and go on to something else.
Exactly.
And so this ticket note framework, just to summarize, ticket resolve, next steps, waiting for, escalation required, ending all of your ticket notes with one of those 4, hopefully in capital letters, so it's really easy to find scanning down. This will let dispatch, the service desk manager, and everybody know what's going on with that ticket. So.
Yeah, and look, this helps quite a bit. Especially like Eric said in that escalation instance. But yeah, let's go on to the 4th point, which is reviewing closed tickets.
Yeah, once you have good ticket notes, then you want to have somebody, let's say dispatch at first, looking through all the closed tickets in their quieter times and flagging the ones which are strange, flagging where the technician has not put proper ticket notes, so that you can remind them that we do have a ticket note writing guide. And you should follow it because it makes your life easier and everybody else's life easier and makes the system of the help desk work much better.
Yeah.
Or it could be, well, this was kind of strange. They did something which they shouldn't have done based on the scope of the master service agreement we have with this client. They did something that we find this a really interesting fix. We think this should be made into a knowledge base article so the level 1s can do what this level 3 did, so on and so forth, looking for ways where issues can be solved proactively rather than this ticket coming to the service desk 3 times a week.
Exactly.
Is there a way that the project team can look at things in a different way and solve this? Is there a script that can be run to keep this thing from going down, restarting it automatically, all that sort of stuff. This is what you get by reviewing closed ticket notes. Yeah,
it can be a gold mine of information. Again, you could even see your technician's performance on this ticket notes. Why is technician A taking 45 minutes to resolve an issue, while technician B is also tier 1 is taking 15 minutes? Let's get them together. Let's have them teach each other and create some, maybe see what each other's doing to help improve the team overall.
Yeah, for sure.
So again, just reviewing those ticket notes, it doesn't have to be done daily, it can be done weekly, but just having an overall idea of what's happening on the closed tickets can really add some valuable information to your help desk.
Yeah, totally. And so the last one, number 5, we talked about escalation notes. We talked about having procedures, a system and all that sort of stuff. And one system you really have to have in place to grow an MSP that's scalable: communication policy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about how information flows, how tickets get assigned. It's all about how people escalate, communicate with each other. It's all about when to actually raise the alarm so that everybody stops what they're doing and focuses on a critical issue for a client. And that needs to be delivered through different channels than places where people want to share funny memes with their coworkers in Microsoft Teams,
Yeah.
Different communication policies for different stuff. I am not a big fan of chat, but I do agree that it can be a good part of a good escalation policy, but only if it's a hybrid escalation policy where there's also the ownership transfer escalation policy, which kicks in after, say, 15 minutes. So how this looks is like the communication policy for escalations would be, you can't solve a ticket. All right. Write in the chat what it is. Does anybody know this? Blah, 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 blah. And start writing up the escalation notes. And stick around looking at different stuff. Make your notes complete for up to about 15 minutes. And if in that time, one of your really helpful and awesome and friendly coworkers comes back with some sort of magical piece of info that allows you to keep working on the ticket, then you're like, great, thanks, I'm going to finish this now. But if in those 15 minutes nothing comes back, then you escalate that ticket with full escalation notes through the dispatch or straight to the escalation tech, like the level 3 that's designated for that and all that sort of stuff. Whatever the policy is, you need to have something that people can follow. Also, what is the severity of how do you communicate with clients, you know, in a major outage, you know. Hey, your whole email domain's down. You're not able to do business over email today. I mean, you want to have a communication policy that would have somebody calling them every half an hour and say, hey, we're working on this. We're really sorry. We understand this is very inconvenient. Want to give you an update. This has been escalated to level 3 of Microsoft support or the hosted exchange provider or whatever it is. You know, it's like, how do you want your service to be with people in the darkest moments of IT problems? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, communication is key, not just internally, but like Eric said, with your clients.
What should be an email? What should be a ticket?
Exactly.
How to reply to people using your work personal email or the ticketing system. Yeah,
exactly.
When to put internal notes on and when to put external notes. That's part of ticket notes, but it's also a communication policy thing. When to call the client, when to not call the client, when to when you're handing it over, are you supposed to tell the client that you're escalating the issue so that they feel something is being done, or do you just do that? You know, all that sort of stuff is a communication policy, and communication is key because often help desks are rather opaque, meaning you don't know what's going on with your ticket, and then you get some random reply, but a little bit of context, a little bit of customer service on the communication does really well. And internally, you really need to make sure that the amount of interruption you're subjecting people to is proportional to the amount of severity of the issue and urgency.
Exactly.
And so, chat, email, phone, video calls, they're all really good. But you need to find which ones are the most effective ways to use which communication methods. You know, for example, at Support Adventure, we have weekly meetings where we go over all the contracts that we have with all our clients. And any issues come up there, get escalated, discussed with the team there, rather than random emails at random times throughout the week that distract people from whatever they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I mean, any platform can work as long as it's been implemented correctly. You don't want to have an open policy where people just post whatever, whenever to a certain board and expect that escalations take place on that same board, because it's going to get lost at the end of the day.
Organize and systematize your information, folks.
Exactly.
We've seen what works and what doesn't, how companies grow, what our clients who have 30 people look like versus what our clients who have 3 people look like. And if you want to grow your MSP, these are the sorts of things you need to put in place. We help in making your help desk more consistent and providing great results, and our specialty is remote staffing. So the reason we started doing all this sort of stuff, because without this stuff, remote staffing is very difficult to make work unless you've got the time to constantly handhold them and explain things to them. You know, you need a system that guides them rather than a person to explain them. And you know, all of these operation manuals and stuff like help with that. We do some consulting, but only in conjunction with staff placements from us. So you might be able to get consulting when signing up with Support Adventure. However, there are some companies like, I think it's called Pax8 now, they bought it. It was called C-Level before. There's all sorts of different MSP coaching platforms, and they will help you put things like dispatch and communication. So hire those professionals, because you can watch a video like this, but you need someone to look at your MSP and what's working and what's not, and tailor the recommendations right to you and what's working, what's not, address your pain points, and implement this stuff in a way with your staff that's digestible, that validates the current roles and shifts them into more systematized professional roles. So,
exactly.
So subscribe to our channel.
Yep. Check out our website.
Yeah, check out our website.
And if there's anything, if you have any questions at all, reach out. We'll be happy to see if we can assist you.
All right, thanks a lot.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.